big exclusive at the top of 5. India is all set to make its biggest move against Pakistan-sponsored terror. The Modi government is on the threshold of signing India's first deal for drones armed with missiles that can be fired across the line of control. Prime Minister Modi heads to Israel in July this year. And this report tells you all about how the deal that he's going to sign gives India its most controversial and potent weapon against terrorists across the line of control. They're described in whispers as hell from the sky. Prowling airspace over the world's most dangerous zones, they keep a watchful eye by day or night. Sifting targets, zeroing in, and finally unleashing their fury with missiles. Combat drones like the Predator have proven to be formidable, indispensable weapons in the war against terror. In Pakistan, the dangerous Afghan border, and even Iraq and Syria. But one global terror hotspot has remained conspicuously drone-free. The Pakistan-sponsored terror camps in POK got a bloody nose during India's daring cross-border surgical strike last year. But they have continued to function fearless of drone attacks. All of that is set to change very soon, with India all set to sign its first deal for missile-armed drones. Reports this week suggest that one of the cornerstones of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first visit to Israel in July this year will be a $400 million deal for 10 Heron TP armed combat drones capable of firing missiles. The giant unmanned aircraft are built to fly by remote control and fire missiles at standoff ranges, potentially across the line of control at terror camps. The drones could potentially also be used on the Indian side to hunt down infiltrators. India currently has a sizable fleet of Israeli drones, but uses them entirely for surveillance. While drones have been used to keep tabs on terrorist infiltrators coming across the LOC from Pakistan, they haven't been able to engage directly since they are unarmed. The Heron deal could change all of that, and Pakistan has been put on notice. Bureau Report, India Today. Well, the truth right now is no country on earth other than the United States actually uses drones to fire missiles at enemy targets. The US is the only country, and now India plans to get drones very much like those. I'm joined now by Executive Editor Gaurav Sawant. We're also privileged to have with us Brigadier V. Mahalingam, who's with us. Gaurav, getting these drones is already a very controversial issue, because these are drones which the Indian military planners think, could be used to fire missiles across the line of control at terror training camps. This is a huge move by the Modi government, Gaurav.
Oh, this indeed is a very bold decision to acquire 10 of these initially. That is what sources are telling India today. This is a $400 million deal. 10 of these drones will be acquired initially. Unmanned combat aerial vehicles. Quite a game changer, this, Brigadier Mahalingam.
Absolutely. You see, if you recall, when we did the surgical strikes, we found that there were certain serious sort of shortcomings. The army was aware of that. And if I am correct, right from 2012, they have been demanding that. But for some unknown reason, we had not been able to procure this equipment. The problem is that firstly, because of the security implications, you cannot go ahead and carry out an operation beyond a certain level. Secondly, the operations per se will have to commence after last light, and it will have to finish before the first light. And thirdly, and most importantly, in case there are any casualties, there are any people wounded, it was going to be extremely difficult to evacuate them. Therefore, with that in mind, Army had always been demanding that an armed combat aerial vehicle needs to be procured and it should be put in place. And that is now fructifying.
Absolutely. It's a huge, huge development.
Yes.
This is a game changer, Shiv. 10 of these, they can loiter, they can hunt for the target and destroy. So terrorists and terrorist training camps in Pakistan, occupied Kashmir or elsewhere, they have a huge range, they are armed and they will seek and destroy the target. So terrorists, now beware.
It's really amazing, and this is not just a shot in the dark. This is a deal, like you said, Gaurav, $400 million deal that's going to be signed very soon. Prime Minister Modi is headed to Israel. That deal is just waiting to be signed, and India will begin to get those drones that can be used the way Brigadier Mahalingam just described. We also have with us Major General G.D. Bakshi, who's in on the phone line. General Bakshi, you've been a very, very strong proponent, for cross-border attacks on terror camps in POK and Pakistan. What do you think these drones can do? This is good news, as far as the ideology that you espouse, General Bakshi, that we need to go and get them where they are.
Exactly. This is very welcome news, long-awaited news. There was talk last year that we were trying to get about 200 Predators drones from the United States,
yes,
worth about $4 billion. Then ultimately we were also looking at Israeli drones. As you are aware, we have the Israeli searchers for the mid-altitude and Herons for the high altitude. But these are surveillance drones, purely surveillance drones. They can just acquire targets. They cannot engage targets. We were also looking at Israeli Herop drones, which are armed drones.
Yes.
And now we are going to go in for these Herons, 10 of them, which are armed, which have the capability to fly, to fire missiles and to strike and engage and destroy terrorist targets. They have excellent loiter time, very good abilities in terms of optics, optics to pick up the targets and then engage them. This is precisely what we need for trans-border strikes. We need to have the capability to hit back rapidly and without endangering, our personnel.
Yes.
We pulled off that surgical strike without a single mishap. Just one of those boys had, blown up his foot on the mine. Even he was brought back.
Yes.
But you can't hope to be so lucky every time. So, a Predator-style drone, an attack UAV, that really saves you the embarrassment of casualties, prisoners being left behind, etc. And yet it destroys with precision. It can bring very lethal ordnance to bear. It can
bring a huge amount of firepower to bear without risking the lives of our valuable soldiers. General G.D. Bakshi, Brigadier Mahalingam and Gaurav, thank you so much for joining me.